what to answer to the question, what's the purpose of promoting anything that can better the human condition, also in the moral sense, without being moralistic, of course? What's the point of all of this? So there are two ways to answer to this question, and one is the very long way, and only a few people are capable of understanding profoundly the content of this long way to reply to this question, which I believe I have the confidence to externalize, to explain, but it involves an intricate network of many fields, which also require having the notions, the knowledge, the basic knowledge at least, of these fields, including anthropology, biology, memetics, the study of memes in the sense of units of culture, psychology, of course, sociology, history, anthropology, and all combined in an holistic viewpoint. And I repeat, only a few people are capable of decently understanding all of this decently. And there is the other way that is more like a short way, not simplistic, not banal, but the simple way to explain how to answer to this question of why we should give a value in doing so-called good actions and building so-called good thinking. The short, brief explanation is pretty much all about the fact that the human way to reason gets stored, archived in the brain in form of memories. So this package of memories, package of information, gets stored in the brain pretty much like a network, like what we can use easily the analogy with a neural network in computer science. So a network of memories is gets stored in the brain, and that it can translate itself in terms of action, behavioral actions. So what does all of this mean? It means that when this network of memories that also has an impact, has an influence to the person's behavior, when this network gets stored in the brain, then what the brain does, like what every brain does, the brain will try to adapt to this type of network. And as soon as this adaptation generates in the brain a sense of familiarity, then the brain will feel comfortable, will feel secure with this familiarity system in the brain, and then the brain will tend to replicate it, and therefore, consequentially, the outcome of this will result in the replication of the behavior inherent to this network of memories. Now, if this network of memories is primarily based on bad actions, such as performing violence, stealing, hurting other people, negligence, not caring, all the memories related to these networks will be replicated because the brain will perceive it as something familiar, will be replicated, and the consequence of this through the brain will be the replication of the behavior inherent in this type of memory. Now, just to be more precise, to repeat all of this, the to the human brain is not relevant what is real and what is not real. It's also not relevant what is wrong and what is good. The human brain does not care about what is reality, only cares about reaching a state of comfort, and there can not be comfort without familiarity, so the brain has to reach a state of familiarity, and when that is found in a specific way of using itself, then the brain finds a sense of security, which is fundamentally what the brain wants in the metaphoric sense, because the brain doesn't want anything, doesn't have in itself intentionality, but purely as a figure of speech. What the brain wants is security. When there is a familiarity, the brain has a sense of security and will replicate it continuously, over and over and over, which really will become a behavioral pattern that will replicate itself. Now, the scientific agreement is so far that to an average brain it takes more or less a couple of years to create a familiarity system, and therefore a self-replicating pattern, and therefore also behavioral pattern, which can be about believing, about acting, about routines, about what we will call habit. Now, what's the point here? The point is that when this network becomes to the brain a familiarity system, and therefore it gets replicated over and over and over, this does not only become what we will call a personality, or the characteristic of the person's behavior. It does not only become that, but becomes something that is capable of passing from mind to mind as a self-replicating mechanism, being tremended like a tradition, for instance, or a belief, or any other behavioral self-replicating system, can get passed from mind to mind, and also from obviously generation to generation. So this is the real fundamental problem. If this network of memories is intrinsically based on bad actions like negligence or enviousness or violence-based proclivities, the full package of the memories will be not only replicated but also passed to other minds, and also generationally, also from culture to culture, and will continue this self-replicating pattern of characterized by violence, by negligence, by greediness, by propensity, proneness to abuse, to exploit, etc., etc., etc. So, if we want to speak in terms of this stream of consciousness, metaphorically, we can see easily how this network, this package of memories that gets replicated over and over, and it can also get passed from mind to mind, from generation to generation, can easily become something that literally will function like an actual virus, replicating itself like a pathogen, and therefore contaminating literally this stream of consciousness, also through time, through generations we are talking about. So the tangible problem here is that if this is not supervised and it is instead allowed to happen, all of this will really damage enormously what is the natural symbiotic um, element, part, component of this stream of human consciousness that also involves morality. Because not many people know that humans do have a natural morality, and it's not something given to us by religious beliefs or ideologies. We do, humans are naturally prone to cooperate with each other and to assist each other. This is documented, but they became intrinsically violent, negligent, etc., etc., etc. We know the nastiness of the human behavior, not because of their own intrinsic nature, but because of the way they organized through ideas, through beliefs, through ideologies, belief systems, particularly, the way they organize, the way we are organizing the dynamics of our brain and the neural networks that are in our brain. Because of that, we became infected by these viruses we are talking about, and this is the fundamental causing factor of conflict, conflicting attitudes among men. So, in a nutshell, all depends of and on the way through which we organize our thoughts. Because I want to highlight this, as I'm very used to do, that there is a large difference between the act of thinking and its content, which is what we call thought or thought processes. The difference is that thought processes are based on memories, and therefore they are based on what is archived and stored in our brains. The act of thinking, instead, is the actual act of putting together our reasoning in order to use those files. I like to use this term files or memories that are stored in the system in a physical way, because thought happens in the brain, therefore it is a material phenomenon. Thinking is the action of organizing all the items, all the material that is stored physically in the brain, including memories, of course. So the fulcrum of all of this is to really change for the better the way we organize all of this, and therefore our thinking.